This is the second grade GoMath Chapter 11 review for the final test. Question 1 says to match the shapes. So starting with the basketball, I'm going to match that because it's a sphere. I'm going to match that with the sphere. The vegetable soup, I'm going to match with the cylinder. This cone, I'm going to match with the ice cream cone. And then the cube, I'm going to match with the dice. Question 2 says, do the sentences describe a cube? Choose yes or no. Alright, so I know that a cube, just in general, it has 6 faces, 8 vertices, and 12 edges. And if you remember, a cube looks something like this. That is the best cube that I can give. But you get the concept there. So it has 6 faces, 8 vertices, and 12 edges. So a cube has, this first one says a cube has 4 faces. That's going to be a no. Second one says a cube has 8 vertices. We said it did, so yes, it does. A cube has 14 edges. No, it does not. Each face of a cube is a square. Yes, that's true. So this front part is considered a face. And yes, that is a square. So yes. Rewrite each sentence that is not true to make it true. So the ones that we said no for was this first one and this bottom one. So I'm going to correct the first one. I would say that a cube has 6 faces. And then to correct my next one, I'm going to say a cube has 12 edges. And that's for number 2. To show thirds. So you're just going to split it up into 3 equal parts. That's what a third is. So I'm just going to split each shape up into 3 equal parts. Then it says, explain how you know that the parts are thirds. So I'm just going to explain that I drew lines to show 3 equal parts. Each part is actually considered a third, so it is a third. Question 4 says, Will and Anna have gardens that are the same size? They each divide their gardens into fourths. I would circle the word fourths. What are 2 different ways they can divide the gardens? So most people would think about this way where they split it down the middle and then they split it down the middle again the other way. The other way I would also do this, especially since it's a square, I would just make an X in the box. Straight across. So those are 2 different ways that they can divide the garden. Question 5 says, draw to show halves, thirds, and fourths. Color a half of, a third of, and a fourth of the shape. Alright, so there's 2 steps here. We have to draw and then we have to color. So look, we are going to draw the half. And then we have to color a half of this shape. Just like that. And same thing with the thirds. We're going to color, or we're going to draw our lines to make it into thirds. And we're going to color a third of this shape. So this would be a half. This would be a third. And then same thing over here. I'm going to do fourths, 4 equal parts. I'm going to make that a little better. 4 equal parts. And I would color a fourth of this shape. Number 6 says Max wants to cover the rectangle with colored tiles. Explain how you would estimate the number of square tiles he would need to cover the rectangle. Alright, so simply I know that I could draw a line straight down and that would be another square tile there. I'm going to make a straight line in the center of this the best I can. Alright, so looking at my ruler, it's almost about a ruler of this. So roughly, I would have about 6 total square tiles, and I know that if I counted each of these, I have 6. Oh, I have 6 squares. So let's see, we have to explain ourselves on how we would estimate the number of square tiles that I would need to cover the rectangle. So I would say that I estimate that there will be 2 rows of 3 tiles. Max needs 6 tiles in all. So the reason how I know my rows, 1, 2 rows, and counting out 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 in each row, 3 tiles in each row. Number 7 says, Jenna built this rectangular prism. Circle the number of unit cubes Jenna used. Alright, so I could just count the cubes here. So I have 1 cube right here, 2 in the middle, 3 in the back, 4 in the back and the front, 5, 6. So I have 6 on this top layer, which means I would have to have 6 on my bottom layer. So I know that 6 plus 6 would be 12. So I need 12 cubes. So I could just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And if I want to double check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That is definitely 12 cubes. Number 8 says Rachel makes a pentagon and a quadrilateral with toothpicks. She uses 1 toothpick for each side of the shape. So she uses them for the sides. How many toothpicks does she need? Alright, so a quadrilateral has 4 sides. And then a pentagon. Ooh, I can draw a better pentagon. Let's try that again. A pentagon will have 5 sides. So 4 plus 5 would equal 9. So she needs 9 toothpicks. Number 9 says Kevin drew two-dimensional shapes that had 9 angles in all. Draw the shapes Kevin could have drawn. Alright, so if they're 2-dimensional, they have to be flat. Alright, so we have 2 flat shapes, basically, that have 9 angles in all. So I know that usually angles come from corners. And I need 9 in all. Well, I know that 4 plus 5 equals 9. So which shape has 4 angles? Well, a square would, and a square has all equal sides. So I'm going to have 4, 4, 4, 4 dots. So that's my square. And here are my angles in each of these corners. That's 4 angles. So a pentagon has 5 vertices. So I know that it would have to have 5 angles. So I'm going to do my best to draw a pentagon. And then if we count that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are two two-dimensional shapes that have 9 angles in all. Number 10 says, fill in the bubble next to the shape that show fourths. So remember that fourths means we have 4 equal parts. All right, so this first one has 4 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. The second one does not have equal parts. If you notice, this part over here and this part over here are smaller than the ones in the middle. So that's not going to be colored in. This has 2 parts, so that's not 4. And if we look at this one right here, we have 4 parts and they look all equal, so I would color that in. Number 11 tells me to draw each shape where it belongs in the chart. Notice how we're looking at angles on both sides. So before I start, I'm going to draw to show my angles. So there's 4 angles in here, 3 angles in here. I'm just finding my angles here. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 angles there. 1, 2, 3, 4 in here. 1, 2, 3. I have 3 in here. So the first box on the left says shapes with fewer than 4 angles. So this guy have fewer than 4. And those are both triangles. One looks kind of like this. And one looks kind of like that. Right there. And then the other on the right side says shapes with more than 3 angles. So that would be the remaining. So I'm going to do the first one, the one that has 6. And then that last one, just like that. And just draw those to the best of your ability to match the shapes above. That seems to conclude this chapter review. I hope that you do well on your upcoming test, and I'll see you next time.